Good evening, everyone. I'm Bette McCarthy. I'm the chair of the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting this evening. It is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable, the Government Access Channel, in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. All right, well, apparently not. All right. Well, to all persons deemed interested or affected by the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act under Section 9, Chapter 470, Acts of 1973, as amended, you are hereby notified that a hearing will be held tonight on the applications listed on the agenda for October 25th, 2023. We'd like to remind all applicants and audience members that we are elected volunteer committee following the guidelines of the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act. Any applicant or interested party who's aggrieved by any decision that the committee makes this evening, they have a right to appeal the decision to the Old Kings Highway Regional Historic Commission. We ask that during this evening's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the committee take place outside this remote meeting. When an applicant is called, we ask that the applicant and all interested parties identify themselves. And lastly, as best practice for meetings held remotely, where we may not be able to identify who's speaking, we ask all committee members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comments. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing can use the raised hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing should press *9 on their phones to notify the chair. All participants will be muted and you must be recognized in order to participate. So our first order of business for this evening is to call attendance for the committee. George Jessup.
Here.
Wendy Schuck.
Here.
Brian Caholen.
Here.
Leslie Wallace.
Here.
And I myself, Bette McCarthy. All right. So our first item is for Carolyn and Gary Murphy, 460 Church Street, West Barnstable, map 176, parcel 010, built in 1998. And it's to change the color of the door and the shutters to Benjamin Moore Historic Collection AC 188 Essex Green. So right now we need to open a public hearing for this meeting.
Yes, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
And may we have a second?
Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. George Jessup.
Aye.
Wendy Schuck.
Aye.
Brian Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy. So would the applicant please discuss their application to change the color of the door and the shutters of their home?
Hi. So we just wanted to change the colors from to a dark green, and there's also that's the Benjamin Moore Historic Collection. There's also one that's one shade darker, which I initially had on the application and then scratched off. So if it pleases the board, I would like permission to use either this shade or one shade darker, if that's possible.
Okay,
I don't think anybody would notice the difference.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
all right. Any other committee members wishing to make any comments regarding this application of changing the color of the shutters on the door?
Nothing here, no.
No?
No, I think the color looks great.
Great.
All right,
Thank you. They are from the historic collection. Thank you.
okay. Is there any member of the public wishing to make a comment on this?
Here, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone raising their hand at this time to speak to this application.
Okay, all right, then we need to close the public
we
hearing
close.
part of this.
I move we close the portion of this meeting, the public hearing.
All right,
Yeah, you got it.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
second, thank you, and a roll
see
call
it.
vote.
Let's see you transcribe that, Erica. George Jessup, aye.
Then we need a roll call vote on this. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
All right, and now we need a motion to approve this application.
Sure, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Gary and Carolyn Murphy, 460 Church Street, West Barnstable, map 176, parcel 010, built 1998, with one modification to have the option to go one shade darker, otherwise as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Very good. And then a roll call vote on this. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
and Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So your application is approved.
Thank you.
Ms. Murphy? Very
you.
good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night now.
Thank you.
All right, our next application is for Denise and Thomas Krantz of 205 Stony Point Road, Barnstable, map 336, parcel 029, built in 2022, and it is to demo the existing garage. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
Sure, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Leslie
Second.
Wallace, second.
Very good. A roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So now we need to have the applicant discuss
Robert, you're on mute.
Okay, thank
There
you.
we go.
Can you hear
Yep,
me?
no
Hi,
problem.
hi, everybody. So we have an existing garage on the property, which was probably built in the 70s. The biggest thing about the garage is the foundation. You can see in the back of the garage here in that picture, it's very rotted. There's no footing, sure footing underneath that foundation. It's block. You dig down about 30 inches and there's no support. But the biggest thing is, if you go back to the first picture up, that garage door is 7 feet wide by 6 feet tall. So I actually hit it every time I can walk through the door because I'm just all over 6 feet. So we're taking this down and putting back a garage that looks similar, just more taller, a little bit wider in the width and a little bit wider in the just a couple feet wider in the depth and about 6 feet wider in the width to be able to fit a normal car in. But you'll see in the next application, it's the same type of design. It's a salt box. So it looks very similar to what's physically there. But they can't save that garage because it's no way to build up on that foundation that'll be safe for the owners to have on there. So, and once you go back to I don't know if the plans are on there, if you scroll down a little bit on that application, on the left sidebar, or is it not on there yet? Yeah, so you can see, if you go back up, that would be the front. Well, you can see where the, yeah, that's fine, thank you. So that's the front and rear, the front elevation.
All
on the
right.
left.
Well, I believe we're going to just take the demo first.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right. Are there any committee remarks about demoing this garage?
Yeah, I mean, my comments are, it looks like it's in disrepair, you know, the size, the door height, it's just non-functional. So I think probably demo is the way to go in replacing it. So I have no concerns.
Any other committee remarks about demo, just for the demolition?
I don't find anything historically remarkable about the building, and I think it's perfectly okay to demolish it and reconstruct.
All right, thank you, George. Leslie?
Yeah, demolish it and get something that'll look better up there. I'm all for it.
Okay, Ryan?
Knock it down.
All right. And
I just said, knock it down.
Burn that mother.
okay, there's no question about those remarks. And I
That
think
was
that
fine, okay. right.
certainly
Okay.
the garage is not worth saving. So let's see if there are any members of the public in the waiting room wishing to discuss the demolition.
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone wishing to speak to this application at this time.
All right. And I believe we'll keep the public hearing part open until we address the next part of the construction. So we won't close that right now. So then we need a motion to accept the demolition of the garage.
Sure. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the application to demolish a building for Denise and Thomas Cracks, 205 Stony Point Road, Barnstable, map 336, parcel 029, built in 1922 as submitted.
Brian Caholen, I'll second.
Very good. And a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. So the demolition is approved. So now we will take the application for the new garage to replace the old one. So this is for Denise and Thomas Krantz, 205 Stony Point Road, Barnstable, map 336, parcel 029, built in 2022 to construct a new 1.5 garage size 22 by 24. And it looks like 528 square feet, a salt box style to match the new garage. And then we have we still have the public hearing open, so we can committee can make some remarks regarding this application.
Okay,
Well,
so-
excuse me, the applicant, sorry.
That's fine. No, that's okay. You guys can
Yeah.
talk, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No. So basically, putting back basically very similar, just like you mentioned, a door you could actually get a vehicle in that's not smaller than a Hugo, one of those little small French cars or whatever, because but basically it's a salt box style. You can see in this elevation, on the left is the front of the garage. It's a, 9 by 8 garage door overhead to look like a carriage door. And got a little roof on there, and then basically the short roof. It's an 812 pitch, all white cedar, white cedar shingles, the color that match the house, which is it's a gray, a very light gray, and then the Landmark Pro architectural roof shingles are a cobblestone gray that matches the main house. So everything kind of matches. Then the next one to the right there is a rear elevation. Pretty simple, 2/1 windows. They are Anderson 400 series. They're black. All the windows are black to match the house. They are full divided light with spacer bar, simulated divided light, 2/1. I always use that. And if you scroll down to the next drawing, this is the view when you're coming down Stony Point from 6A. You're driving down. So it's in almost the same spot as the old one was. The pitch is a little better. The old pitch was a little bit not more traditional for a salt box. So I try to make it a little bit more, the match, but what matches basically what's physically there. The door will be, it's on the color thing at the bottom. The side door is going to be, we're trying to get is a red to match the door we have there, that red. It's, but the front garage door will be black. There is a thing on the application where it does say the garage door is going to be red. It's going to be black to match the windows. The garage door, which is on the previous elevation above. All trim matches. It's all 1x4 with the historical sill nosing wrapped and stuff, and pretty straightforward. So.
All right, what's the siding?
The siding's white cedar, number 214 rosette turn, which is a kind of a very soft gray, matches the house. It's a Maybach color. It's a very, and the trim matches, it's a gray trim. So it's not like white and gray, which you normally see. It kind of very nice. It just kind of has a, blends in nicely, but matches. But it's a white cedar shingle, but it's dipped.
By Maybach, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Maybach, right.
Um,
The brackets are going to be mahogany, those 6x6 brackets underneath the little roof, the match brackets that are on the house. Those will just be red Bilal natural mahogany with a sealer on them. And then, there, but pretty straightforward. All the rakes and details match the house. Just standard 1x8, 1x3 shadow, 1x6 corner boards. Pretty straightforward.
you want those brackets, the mahogany, to weather the silver gray?
No, it's gonna go. It's gonna have just. It's gonna go weathered a little bit, and then I'm gonna seal them so they don't get black. Because what happens is underneath the roof thing with mildew from the air and everything, they can get that like kind of like
mildew,
mildew on it. Yeah. So we'll let it weather and then put like a little bit of a sealer on it, so it'll look nice. But natural still.
Okay. The only thing my ears went a little tingly when you mentioned a black overhead door. That's huge. It's going to look like the door is open all the time. And you don't have to match the red. I think that's also rather shocking for a salt box. But there's no reason why it can't be a gray to match the siding, and then your casing white to accent the picture framing. But I think the black is far too dark, and especially for that mass. The windows themselves, the sash especially, is Victorian era, and it's the color was originally introduced on windows to simulate a single light of glass, which was expensive. The window glazing was smaller for economy, and then they painted the sash black so that it looked like it was all one piece of glass. But to do that with the overhead doors, I think is excessive, especially for a cape or a salt box. What's the color of the roof?
Cobblestone gray.
So you have gray roof, gray,
No, it's
Uh,
cobblestone gray. Cobblestone gray is not a gray. It's not like a light roof. It's a darker roof. It almost looks like a moire black mixed. It's like it's darker. So the trim, the paint, the stain on the shingles is a light. It's very light gray. It's not the standard gray you see like on the dip in the bleach shingles that most people use. It's a little bit different. It's a little softer, and the trim color, which is on the house, is also a gray. It's so
it
it
is
kind
a
of
gray on the
complements
house,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's darker on the roof. So
Well, if the mutton bars were black and the doors were gray, that, I think that'd be appropriate. But the whole door black, I think is too much black on the elevation. That's my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George. Wendy, what are your remarks regarding this
I
garage?
think, yeah, I think it's a nice change from what you have. You know, I think it's a nice improvement. I think it will look very nice with the house. You know, George's comments about the black doors, I guess I'm not so concerned about that. I do think the red would be a lot, you know, maybe gray is an option, but you know, I don't really feel strongly one way or the other, but I think it's a very nice design and it will look nice. One question, so it will be like in the same spot pretty much as
yes,
the,
if
I
you
know
go
it's
back
large.
up, if you go back up to the scroll up to the site plan, we
Yeah.
can. I think
Yeah.
we're right there. We just gotta kind of
It's-
move it
Good.
over a little bit. Yeah. Okay,
If
there
you
you go.
yeah,
So if you zoom in on that, you can see the dotted line in the garage section is the old position of the garage, the dotted line
Okay.
inside the box. That's the old
Gotcha.
garage. So all it was turned just a little bit to be squared with the house. So it's
Yeah.
the back wall's parallel with the house, and then it's a little bit wider and a couple feet to the street, basically.
Yeah.
But nothing else changes. It's still kind of right on the. It's all hardscape. It's all pavement right now, just blacktop, you know. And I think we're
Yeah.
gonna try to go with some stone in there to soften it,
Yeah.
and you know, to do that. So but yeah, it's basically very similar to the same spot. So when you drive down the street, when it's all said and done, you really won't be able to tell when you come down
Yeah.
the street because it has the same look as it's always been there. And
Yeah.
that's that would be the best thing to go with. Plus it complements the house nicely.
Yeah.
So,
I think squaring it with the house is a great idea too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird. Not a lot of space there.
No,
There's
there's
not a lot of
not.
space there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of space there, but at least you can get a vehicle in the car because right now, I mean, even a VW Beetle, you can get a VW Beetle in, but that's about it. In
Yeah.
that garage.
Yeah. It's tiny.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
tiny, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it
You're
for me,
welcome.
Bet.
all right. Leslie, what are your comments?
I like it and I like the way it's positioned. I think the architecture of it is nice. What I'd like to know is what's the color of the main house's front door?
The main door on the, if you're looking at that, say with that plan, there's a little deck there. You see in the
Yep.
front, in the center of the house.
Yep,
So it's like a barn style house. It looks like a barn, the house. Basically, it's
Right.
got sliding barn doors, and that door is a glass 10-foot wide or 9.9 by 6.11 quad slider, and it's an A series, and it's black with a 2 wide, 2 high simulated divided light glass cut on it. So it's got black doors and black sash in there, and that's kind of, I agree with somebody mentioned that about the red was too much, and that's why I said it's with the black, but it'll pick up the door, and then there's batten doors on both sides that look like they can slide across the door like a barn kind
Yeah.
of. So but it's black, and then the little stoop, if you go from the arrow and you move to like go towards 2 o'clock right there, that little stoop has a little side door, and
Yeah.
that's that door is 2 wide. It's got a Simpson door, wood door, Nantucket series, and it's a horizontal 3/4 glass, and it's got a 2 wide, 2 high glass cut, and that's the red. So that door will match the door on the side, which is closest to that little stoop. So they kind of coordinate from each other. You know, right in the corner, right where it says 9 foot. See where it says 9 foot on right there. Go back, go right there. That's where the door is, going into the garage, right there. So they're really close together, and they'll kind of pick that up. But that's the only thing that's red, is just that door and the door in the house, so kind of coordinates basically with that, so.
Well, I understand George's comment about the black, but I'm trying to visualize it in my head.
Mhm.
If it's kind of a black look on the main house, the second little on the right of the main house, you said is a wooden door.
The door, yeah, on the main, you're not gonna be able to see it from the picture. But yes, the side stoop there, where we were looking at
Yep.
before, which is to
Yep.
the right of the little deck,
Yep.
between the garage, that's a wooden door, and it's a, 3/4 glass door. It's, it's like 3/4 glass, it's a little horizontal panel, and it's got a 2-wide, 2-high glass cut. And that door, just the door, the trim is all a light gray trim. The door is that red to pick up. That's it, that one door. Everything else is black sash. The doors are black, for the glass doors in the front on that little deck. So that's the kind of the look of it before. We've done that. I've used that numerous times in Barnstable, in different areas with the black for the doors. So.
The other
Okay.
one,
Brian. All right, Leslie, is that?
Yeah, I'm trying to visualize it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have thought of it unless George said something, so now I'm kind of fixated on that, but
it's the nice thing about paint, you can change the color rather easily.
yeah, no,
So if you're looking up
Really,
the
yeah.
driveway and you see the open door and you realize it's not open, it's closed,
yeah,
you can always paint it lighter.
Well, you're not gonna. I can understand what you're saying there, but there's black doors down in Barnstable and different areas and stuff, and the door's a panel door. It's gonna be either a fiberglass or a metal door, and it is paneled. It's not a stamped. It's an actual panel
Right.
door with an SDL light cut on the top to do that. So basically, go back to the door, on that picture there.
and glass
So basically,
too. Yeah.
it's so it looks like a carriage door, like it can open, but it's an
Yeah.
overhead, of course.
Yeah.
But they
Is
don't
that
want to
gonna-
do a cedar or mahogany door, because a cedar mahogany door for that is about $9,000 for a
Yeah.
garage door, and they're not
Yeah.
cheap. So
Is that an
basically,
overhead door? Excuse me,
What's
is that
that?
an overhead?
that's an
Robin,
overhead
is
door.
that- It's an overhead door, yeah, so
Yeah,
you
it's an
don't,
overhead
you
door
don't
that looks
show
like
the
a carriage
joints.
door. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So it's, again, the black door will pick up the door, the black on the quad door, glass door that's in the front, and they would coordinate together on that. So,
And the glass on the top too
Yes.
breaks it up. Yeah.
right. And that's gonna
Okay.
simulate a divided light on the glass too, so it gives it
Yeah.
a nice look. So,
I'm okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Brian, what are your comments?
I think given the fact that it is fairly well secluded off of 6A, if you're going down that road, you're going there with a purpose. I like the design, certainly a superior structure compared to what is there, and I think it's appropriate.
Good, thank you, Brian. Yes, I think the design is quite attractive. It matches the home very well, and the little red doors are a little pop from the gray, and I think that's I feel that's very attractive and appropriate. And the fact that the doors in the front are broken up with the glass and the panels, and also there's enough space on either side that I think it offsets the black, and I don't have any issue with the black doors. So those are pretty much my comments. I think it's a huge improvement and it's very attractive. Are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anybody raising their hand to speak to this item at this time.
Okay, well then we need to close the public hearing a portion of this application.
I had one other question, if I might bet. What's the separation, Robert, between the garage, this new garage, and the existing house? What's the distance?
It's still in the same, the corner is in exactly the same spot as where the old one was. Go back to the map, please. It's about off the corner of the house. Can we go back to the plot plan? Because I don't have it in front of me, right? Thank you. Okay,
Is
yeah.
it over 10 feet?
I'm sorry, no, the second drawing, there you go, right there. It is in the corner where the old one was. It measures 9 feet off the corner. That's
Make it
exactly where the
10.
old garage was.
Can you
Yeah.
make it 10? If you can make
Uh,
it 10, then you don't have to sheet rock the interior of the garage. Otherwise, you have to
Yeah.
sheet rock the whole interior of the garage.
Yeah, I guess
Check
we
your
could probably
building.
we could probably pull it to 10 feet. It's just a really tough spot because of the whole
Yeah.
the conservation and the slope and
Yeah.
everything there. It's very, very tight there with that slope.
Yeah.
I'll
Check
have
with the
to,
building commissioner.
well, you know, what I'll do probably end up doing is we'll probably end up using fiberglass fire rated sheet, board on it, separation board between that underneath the shingles on that exposure, on those two exposures, you know what I mean, for that. But I don't know if we can
Well,
pull it out to 10 feet. I don't know if I could do that or not. I have to talk to
Well,
the,
that's just a
engineer.
point to check on because it's
I
critical.
will, yeah, thank you, thank
Big
you.
money item if you have to sheet rock the whole interior first.
Oh, I
and
understand, I
second.
agree with you, yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Other than that,
Okay, thank you, George. Erica, are there any members of the public wishing?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone raising their hand to speak to this item at this time.
All right, thank you, Erica. So then we need to close the public hearing portion of this application.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Leslie
Hold on.
Wallace, second.
And a roll call vote on that. George Jessup,
aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
and Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy, aye. So now we need a motion to approve the application for the new construction of the garage.
Sure. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Denise and Thomas Cracks, 205 Stony Point Road, Barnstable, map 336, parcel 029, built in 2022, with one modification that the garage door will be black, otherwise as submitted.
Brian
Second,
Caholen,
Leslie
one second.
Wallace.
All right, thank you. And a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So the next application is, Ryan, we need you to abstain and to turn off your your connection to the meeting right now.
I can't listen as the homeowner.
Point of order, you do need to recuse yourself. You will need to, you can shut off your video and shut off your audio. Or you can choose to leave the meeting and come back in. You have those two options for the Zoom meeting.
How do I know when it's time to come back in? I can't.
You
listen.
can wait in the waiting room and we can just go ahead and admit you once the item's done.
Okay.
All right. Our next application is for Katie and Ryan Caholen, 260 Church Street, Barnstable, map 153, parcel 007, built in 1978, to install 10.935 kilowatt solar panels, will not exceed the roof panels, but it will add 6 inches to the roof height, 27 panels in total. No CSS. I'm not sure what that means. All right. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Leslie Wallace, second.
All right, and a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So now we need the applicant to discuss their, so is Katie or Ryan Caholen available to discuss their solar array?
Or a delegate, right? Because Ryan had to recuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Who's the solar guy?
Hello?
Hi. Hi, Brendan.
You're on, Brendan.
Oh, I think he just dropped by mistake, maybe.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
we are.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we sure can.
Yes.
All right, sorry about that. This is Brendan LeBrun representing Trinity Solar and the Cahoney family. So as the application specifies, the proposal is for the installation of 27 solar panels, 400 watts, and matte black in color across the 2 front-facing roof planes. The roof planes are labeled R2 and R5 on the design right there.
What's the address?
The address, 260 Church Street.
Okay. And that's a scenic road.
It is a scenic road. It's right next to Route 6.
The scenic road, and it goes from Church to Parker. It's scenic.
Yeah.
mhm. Boy, that lot is so deep. Oh, no, it isn't. It's not the one I
It
was
is
seeing.
set back a little ways from the road. So
It's 163 feet from the road. This is Katie Caholen.
Look at all the trees he's got back there.
Well, there's no trees in front to
No.
block anything.
It doesn't represent the site plan that well. I mean, the aerial that shows the trees in the backyard, it looks like that might be a separate lot.
Well, no, it should be
See,
his lot.
see how much, see, in relation to the width as shown on the site plan with the dotted line outline, the proportion is way off. It doesn't come close to the aerial photograph outline. It only,
We own all that land.
the house seems to be in the middle of it. You see what I'm saying there?
yeah,
Yeah.
The house appears to
that
be
is
in the
it,
middle
yeah.
of it. Now, when you look at the aerial photograph, only the cleared
To the
area,
right. Yeah, I see what
only
you're
the
saying.
cleared area matches up
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So I suspect there's some error there. Now, you want to put those on the whole front of the house. What color's the
Correct.
roof?
for the roof, it's like a medium gray. I'm not.
Yeah. Are the Caholen planning on replacing the roof with black? Make those solar panels disappear?
I haven't personally discussed this with him. That was probably would have been decided with him and his sales rep. I'm not seeing any notes right now in my folder for a change in the color of the shingles. It could certainly be run by him and see how he feels about that, but at the moment there's no push to change the roof color.
There
least not
isn't
from-
now, but we would entertain it.
Right.
Well,
Any chance of putting it all in the back?
So the thing about placing the solar panels in the front is that that's where it's gonna get the most sunlight. That's where
Yeah.
most sunlight to come from. Putting the panels in the back would reduce the efficiency of the panel significantly.
yes. How about a ground
Believe
array?
us, we tried hard to get them only in the back.
What about on the barn?
Yeah, I think the trees are the problem over by the barn. They
Correct.
tried that back and barn, and it just wasn't going to cut it, even if we cleared it more.
Right. What about one of those standalone units that you don't mount on your roof?
The
Is that
Ground
spray,
mount system.
a
Yeah.
spray.
We
I
looked
can't
at that, but we would have to clear much further back.
Correct,
Um,
yeah. They probably had to clear out quite a few more trees in the back. I can't speak as far as the efficiency for a ground mounted system right now. I'm more in, Trinity does do ground mounts, but specifically do roof mounted systems in my
Mhm.
department.
Hmm.
the canopies, the canopy from the trees was just too much unless we cleared the entire
Uh-huh.
Now,
area.
even if you put more on the back, more than what you're contemplating on the front part, if you put more, like on every roof in the back, it still wouldn't be enough?
Exactly, that's what we tried.
It's not only that, the price of the actual system itself would increase exponentially because we would need to add far more panels just to reach the certain level of efficiency that the current system design produces.
But it could be done.
Uh,
And the
It could-
pitch of that smaller roof over the porch, we can't have them on that because there's like not enough pitch, I guess.
This is Bette McCarthy. Had you thought about putting a pergola in the back and the solar panels could go on top of a pergola covering a patio?
Again, I think that would be the canopy of the trees. We could do that and clear more trees.
Here,
Yeah,
can
that
you
would
get-
be moving more into the realm of getting just a ground mounted solar system.
Can you get it to the back part, the picture with the back part of the house? Yeah, that. Cause that's wide open. Back, where do the trees start with that?
So for the issue with installing the panels on this side of the house is
Yeah.
just that you get more sunlight coming from the north side, or
Right,
not the north side, sorry, south side.
right.
Sure.
And
The
and there's
trees
not,
are right behind the photographer there.
yeah, and there's not enough room to do a standalone unit there?
There's plenty of room, but because of the trees and the overhang, the canopy of the trees, the shade and things, we would have to clear way further back, which we would be happy to do, to put a standalone one there.
Yeah, it's a tough one because are there any solar panels in the neighborhood? I drove down, I didn't see any, but
So I didn't see any solar panels on Church Street, but if you go further north along like maybe half a mile, there's Willow Street. There was a couple of houses I found over there that both had solar systems on their roofs.
But they're not scenic routes. What
And
I want,
also
yeah.
High Street, this board approved High Street that are visible from the road that's also a scenic road recently.
The guy on the corner of Pine and Church. His house is way up on a hill. It's like a little salt box. I believe he's in I didn't even know he had this. Somebody had mentioned it to me. I think he might be in the solar business, I'm not sure. But he has a solar spray or something. I don't even know, I've never seen it, didn't know it was there. In the back of his house. You can't see it. I'm not sure what it is. I've never walked back there. I've never asked him. But somebody did say it was back there, but you cannot see it at all. If you want to talk to him. I don't know what his name is. But
Yep,
it's
we
right-
have talked to him and that's,
Oh.
I think, just big enough to run his pool filter.
Oh, it's not a lot of.
No,
solar.
it's not his
Okay.
whole house.
So there's a couple, this is Bent McCarthy. There are a couple of options. I guess one would be to put a black roof on. That's quite expensive too. A standalone, something in the back. Or covering that little patio, bringing that out, that roof line out and putting a pergola, covering that with solar panels. So there's a couple of alternatives. It's a tough question because you are on a scenic road. If
Right.
the black, it had a black roof and it all blended in, it would not be as noticeable.
Was the approval on High Street with a black roof?
We're
No,
only
it
talking
wasn't.
about your house right now, so.
Right, but
let's
I'm just
stick-
saying because that's
Yeah,
also,
let's stick with that. I wasn't on the commission when that was approved, so I have no idea.
yeah, I think it was just a couple months ago.
Well, I don't remember it ever coming before us.
History. All right, we have two problems here. One, in order to approve a front facade, street facing elevation installation, it has to be as innocuous as possible. It has to be whole roof, and the background has to match the facing of the panel itself. If it's a black panel, then the roof has to be black so that it disappears. And the frame has to be blacked out.
The frame of the panels?
Yeah, it can't be a polished or gloss or a noticeable frame. It can't be like a stainless steel. It
Right.
has to be. It has to be
These are
blacked
all,
out. It has to be
all-
blacked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these
That-
panels are all blacked out, sorry.
Okay, well, that's good. That's part of the design. The fact that it's going to stand up off the roof by 6 inches isn't that noticeable when you're looking at the elevation of the building. You only notice it when you're up close and you see that it's standing off of it. But I understand why it's not on the roof itself. There has to be some ventilation underneath the panels. The other aspect of this is the public relations. The fact that Ryan is on the commission makes this doubly difficult because
Right.
we don't need public criticism or the commission being criticized for favoritism for one of its members. So
Right.
we have to be even tougher on.
We have to
Ryan than
follow-
we might be on.
No, we just, George,
We have to
this
make
is
sure
Pat.
that
We
this is not
we-
an element of the consideration. That's
just, George, this is
yeah,
Beth.
go
We
ahead.
just need to follow the regulation, okay?
how we do, but we can't
Right.
perceive to be not doing it.
Right.
So we have to be even tighter. I would tend, as I did on another application in Dennis where I represented the commission, this committee at the commission level. I would consider appropriate this installation on a black roof so that it disappeared.
Right. And what about the symmetry? I mean, they've got that one panel that's kind of hanging out there,
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've always thought that we should have triangular panels so that we could fill to the valley.
Yeah,
But in this case, I think eliminating that end panel is appropriate. That one panel that
yeah,
is added to
yeah.
that's that one. I think that should be eliminated.
Right.
Then we can have the roof blending completely. I don't know. I understand why they don't have those panels running up against the higher level of roof. In other words, why did they want to leave that gap on the lower roof section? And it's very simple. It's in the shadow. But if they had blank panels that didn't have any heating elements in them, were simply blank panels that allowed the completion of that roof, I think that would be appropriate.
Were you, sorry,
There's only two other places you could put panels that would not be visible from the street. The flat, the square section to the left of the chimney rear. That roof is almost flat and it is not visible from the street. And it being flat would have, you see in the back, that's
Oh,
two-story, the
Yeah.
second story.
Mm-hmm.
That section of roof would be most appropriate, and it would be as functional as the front elevation in its electric generation. And the roof that's over the sunroom is a much shallower pitch, and that also would be a more appropriate roof than the remainder of the rear elevation. So you have two areas where you could cut down the front elevation coverage by putting them on those two rear sections that I just described. Other than that, I don't know how we could improve the acceptability of this design.
This is Matt McCarthy. There's another, could you screen the whole property from the front of the road, put evergreens across the front, and then you wouldn't see the house from the road? Is that a possibility?
Probably not. We have two giant like magnolia trees at the front of the road right now, so I don't know if
You have giant magnolias. Why didn't you take a photograph from the street? Why did you take a photograph close up to the
unfortunately
house?
we didn't take the pictures.
Oh,
for
you
the meeting.
didn't? Okay.
No, it was Trinity.
Can we see the elevation of the site plan showing all the vegetation again, please? Yeah, well, let's pull that back and can we zoom on?
That's old. It's way old.
Yeah, I just want to see what you do have for vegetation there. I'm sorry, I didn't get by to look at it.
All the landscaping was done last fall, so that is a very old picture.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the front yard is pretty wide open. As I
yeah,
Okay, thank you,
there's
Wendy.
no
today.
trees or anything.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah,
And they just did the front of it.
yeah,
So I don't think they'd want to put up big trees over something they just did. It looks nice in the front.
Hmm.
right. So
It's
do
a
we give it up?
dilemma.
Yeah, do we give the homeowners options, do maybe a continuance or something, Bet, do you think? or-
Yeah, um, I think we've mentioned several alternatives and, perhaps if the Caholans wish to mull those over and, we could, continue, have you come back at a later date and resubmit this application. That's a possibility.
Moving for a continuation, is acceptable. We'll move back. Well, I'm sorry, I'll let the homeowner answer that question.
What is that to include a black roof?
That's one of the options. It doesn't have to be the only option.
Right,
Right.
you know, the black roof, moving some of the panels to the back, a standalone unit, you know, I think there are a couple options.
Yeah, I mean, we've done the standalone unit, so, I mean,
Right.
option, but, you know, we don't love the look of solar panels either, but we also don't love our electric bill either.
Right.
So, you know, we have
Well-
to try something.
The issue is, that it's a scenic road. Had, you just been in a normal
So is High
road,
Street.
that would be,
Right.
it would be a much easier
Easier,
decision to.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Exactly,
see,
it
the
would be-
precedent of it is what bothers me. You've mentioned High Street several times. That's the precedent. Now, if you do it, other people will say, well, you let that person, it's the precedent, and that screws it all up too.
Right.
So I'm worried about that as well.
Well, we have to follow the guidelines, so.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to, withdraw the application for now and then resubmit it after looking at some of the alternatives?
I guess we could continue it.
Okay,
Point of order, Erica Brown here.
yes,
To continue it, they would not need to resubmit a new application.
okay,
That would just be an updated application. If you decided to continue it, we won't close the public hearing if that is the choice. But we would still take public comment from the public tonight,
Okay.
concerning this if there is any as well. But we would
And,
not close the public hearing. We would then continue it to the very next meeting, which would be November 15th.
Okay.
That's acceptable with Trinity Solar for them.
all right. And Erica, we, it's appropriate to, see if there's any public comment regarding this.
There is somebody, John T would like to make a comment. So John, if you would like to unmute yourself, you may.
All right. Well, Katie just stated, we don't love the look of solar panels. I live at 263 Church Street, directly across the street from them, with a complete view of their entire roof line. There are no trees really to speak of, no thick foliage to speak of between us and 260 Church Street at the Caholans' house. So I'm all for putting them on the back of the house or ground mounted in their backyard. But I'll say it again, Katie just stated, we don't love the look of solar panels. Neither do we.
If I may speak, solar panels, I mean, they aren't necessarily visually appealing to everyone, and that's understandable. And we certainly respect the objectives of the historic committees and what they try to do to maintain a pleasing aesthetic in the neighborhoods. But the future for renewable energy is moving towards solar panels, or maybe it'll change slightly in the future to something slightly different. But renewable energy is the future. Again, it's not for everyone, but there's going to come a day, it might not be next month, next year, or maybe not even 10 years from now, but every home is going to have a source of renewable energy on it.
Okay, so
May-
I'll have
may
a
I just
windmill in
ask
my
a
front
question?
yard.
Brendan,
All
what does your company sell?
We sell solar panels. Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
This,
Erica,
Pat,
is,
may I make one comment? This is an historic district. We on this commission are charged with preserving the history of Route 6A. And it is a major tourist attraction for this Cape. People come from Alaska to view this historic district that runs the entire North Shore from Sagamore to Orleans. It's the largest historic district east of the Mississippi. And that's what we're trying to preserve. The look of over a century ago. There were windmills, but there were no solar panels.
That-
So,
And I wholly appreciate that statement.
okay,
I don't want
so-
to, but there was a time, there's some historic areas where it was difficult even to get a sunroof on your or sorry, not sunroof, a skylight on your roof. It didn't look the same. It was different. It wasn't historically accurate. And there was a time that just wasn't acceptable. That was eventually changed slightly for many different areas. I don't know if it's acceptable here, but there
It's
have
not
been
accept-
changes.
I have a skylight 30 years ago. They forced me to put it in the back.
okay. All
Yeah.
right.
You know why
Erica,
the skylight, was
all
originated?
right. Let,
To allow you to
excuse me,
access the chimney.
excuse me, let's stay with this particular item. Erica, is there somebody else in the public wishing to make a comment?
Yes, it looks like Nancy J. Wilson would like to make a comment. Nancy, if you'd like to unmute yourself, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much. This meeting has been very interesting. I am not a neighbor, but I used to live in the neighborhood. And at this point, I'm a member of the public who knows some of the neighbors on Church Street. And this is an area where there has been a lot of contention in the past because there is a conflict between those who want to preserve Church Street as a scenic road and those who would be okay if it were more modern. There are just several issues with this, and I think that, I take your point, Trinity Solar, that there may be a time when this is more appropriate for homes than it is right now, especially on a scenic road. And even in the back, let me just say this, even placing these in the back, if they didn't put out any additional light, that might be a solution. But right now, there's a situation where there's a lot of light coming from the backyard, and it can be seen by neighbors, and it impacts neighbors' quiet enjoyment of the neighborhood, which they anticipated would be quiet and not lit up and not modernized when they decided they wanted to live there. So I just have some concern about this, and I think that it would go a long way if whatever accommodation can be made for the views and the well-being of the street in general, and especially the neighbors. I think that would be most appropriate. And I just don't see that this proposal does that. So yes, I would welcome, and I can't speak for the neighbors, but I'm sure, I think they would welcome, you know, a significant alteration to this plan before we can really seriously consider it. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anybody else, Erica?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone raising their hand at this time, but if anyone is wishing to speak, please unmute yourself and correct me. No, not at this time.
No.
Could
All
I ask
right.
could I ask one more question of Trinity Solar? So Brendan, I believe that there are solar companies like out on the West Coast and maybe throughout the United States that are making panels that look like roof shingles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Does your company do that, or are they looking into it, or is that an option, or I assume no?
At the moment, my company doesn't offer that sort of design. It's certainly something that we've looked into, but at the moment we haven't moved to incorporate that into one of our product lines.
The Tesla unit.
Wendy, do you remember, somebody came before us, oh, maybe a year and a half or so ago, and they wanted to put a solar roof, it was matte, on their house, and they had pictures and all. They're very nice, I'm sure very expensive, but very nice. And with the matte, there's really, you know, it's roof looking.
Yeah.
So that, I'm surprised more people, probably because of the price, don't go for that. And you put it's a roof, so it goes all over the house.
All right. This is Bet, and there is a company that makes the shingles that are solar, but this is not something that we're really going to discuss anymore this evening.
No.
So I believe we keep the public hearing part open. Is that correct? So now we need a motion to continue this application for our next meeting.
Okay. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to continue the certificate of appropriateness application for Ryan and Katie Caholen, 260 Church Street, Barnstable, map 153, parcel 007, built 1978, to our meeting on November 15th at 6:30 p.m.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote for that. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. So we will add that to our agenda for our next meeting. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Brendan.
We do not have any minor modifications this evening. We have no extensions. Other is to approve the 2024 meeting schedule. Did anyone see any issues regarding that?
No.
I did not.
All right. So then we need a motion to approve the schedule for 2024.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the 2024 meeting schedule as submitted.
All right.
Leslie Wallace, second.
And a roll call vote. George Jessup,
I approve.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. And I don't believe there are minutes for this evening. So we need a motion to adjourn the meeting. And but let's see. Oh, the next meeting is the November 15th, and the one after that is December 13th. And I are there any other issues? Or we need a motion then to adjourn the meeting.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to adjourn today's meeting Wednesday, October 25th, 2023.
And,
Second, Leslie Wallace.
and we need a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye.